Good evening, councillors and those present. I'm Deputy Mayor Scott Morrissey. I'll be chairing this meeting tonight as Mayor Curry is in isolation, but I note she's joining via Teams. I welcome you tonight to the extraordinary council meeting, 11th of May 2022, and I declare the meeting open at 7:04 p.m. For the community who are listening, some of our councillors are participating in the meeting remotely tonight. I also ask councillors to observe the requirements under the Code of Meeting Practice and Meeting Etiquette, including debate on an item will commence only once we have a mover and a seconder for the item. The mover of the motion has the first right to speak on the motion. The mover has a right of reply before the motion is put to a vote. Indicate whether you are speaking for or against the motion or amendment. You can speak for up to 5 minutes on a motion and a similar time for any amendment. For the efficient conduct of this meeting, it is not necessary for you to repeat the matters you agree with and raised by any previous speaker. It is sufficient for you to say that you agree with the points raised. I'll also ask the councillors who are participating in the meeting remotely via Teams to please observe the following online meeting etiquette. Mute your microphone when not speaking. Have your camera turned on. Use the hand icon from the top toolbar to indicate you wish to speak, as I'll determine the speaking order based on the hand icons I see. Announce your name when speaking. Ensure your microphone and camera are not picking up any background noise and visual distractions. To ensure the meeting runs smoothly and the public clearly hear all speakers, we will assist by muting your microphone should you forget to do so. I also remind you that the video recording is an official record of council and may be made available to persons upon request in accordance with the Government Information Public Access Act 2009. No other recordings are permitted. Moving to the first item, acknowledgement of country. Bayside Council respects the traditional custodians of the land, elders past and present, on which this meeting takes place, and acknowledges the Gadigal and Bidjigal clans of the Sydney Basin. Item number 2 is the opening prayer. I now invite Mr. Fausto Soot to open the meeting in prayer. Please stand.
Almighty God, we thank you for the community of Bayside and for the benefits of living and working in this diverse area. As we commence this meeting, inspire us with the qualities of good counsel, so that the foundations of good governance may be established for Bayside Council. Give us insight to make wise decisions, integrity to face the truth, courage to make difficult choices, and compassion for the needs of others. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Sutt. Item number 3, attendance and apologies. We received 2 apologies tonight, one from Councillor McDougall and the other one from Councillor Souness. Would someone like to move the apologies? Moved by Councillor Awada, seconded by Councillor Nagy. All those in favour say aye. Again, I declare the motion carried. Procedural motion. In accordance with the requirements of the Code of Meeting Practice, I move to formally allow councillors to attend by audio-visual link. I therefore move that councillors in attendance at tonight's meeting by audio-visual link be permitted to do so. Is there a seconder? Councillor Muscat. Is there any discussion? All those in favour say aye. Against say against. I declare the motion carried. Disclosures of interest. Are there any disclosures of interest to be made at this meeting? I note no response. I have it that no councillors wish to disclose an interest. This will be noted in the minutes. Thank you, councillors. Next is public forum. I note formally that there are no members of the public who have applied to speak at this meeting. Item 5, moving on to reports. Just wait for it to come up to the screen. Thank you. Item 7.1 is the Community Strategic Plan, final draft for endorsement. There's an officer's recommendation before us. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Awada, second by Councillor Werner. I have a mover and a seconder to the motion. Is there any discussion on the Community Strategic Plan? Councillor Hanna.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just have a question. Page 20 of the Community Strategic Plan sets out the top languages spoken in Bayside, and there's 10 languages set out that add up to 37.5%. I'm just wondering why English isn't listed.
That's a good question.
As far as I'm aware, unless I'm missing something, English is still a language, and I would have thought it would actually be the top language at this point in time.
It certainly is.
Um,
Who'd like to answer through the GM? Thank you.
Through the chair, I'm imagining that that says, can I just refer to the page in front of you? This comes under the heading, I believe, of looking at our diverse community, and so what you see listed there would be the languages other than English that are spoken in our community. I think it's quite proper that if council wishes to change the heading to reflect that, we can do that as part of the adopting it for tonight's purposes.
Thank you, General Manager. May I suggest that happen, because it is a little bit confusing.
How would you like to word that?
So if we could add another officer recommendation to the motion to note that page 20 of the Community Strategic Plan, 16. 16 of the document, page 16 of the document, the heading will read top languages other than English spoken in Bayside are.
So we'll just wait for that to be added. Councillor Nawada and Werner, are you okay with that amendment? Thank you. Councillor Curry, you've got your hand raised, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Councillor Morrissey. I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that's gone into this plan from a number of groups. So our community, I know many of them contributed over the phone in surveys, also through submissions. I'd like to also thank the staff. There's been a lot of community consultation, a lot of time spent getting this right, and to really be able to reflect the needs of our community and the focus. And just want to thank councillors as well, and acknowledge that councillors were also out at mobile offices, and then also always speaking to people, trying to ensure that we capture all the important areas to get into this plan. So just wanted to pass on thanks to everybody involved.
Thank you, Councillor Curry. Is there any further speakers to item 7.1? I'll just add to Councillor Curry's comments there that it is so much work being done by council officers in preparing these plans. Even, this is a rejig of the plan that was completed in 2017, and despite the fact it's an improvement on what was there, it's still a lot of work. So I think I speak on behalf of all councillors when we thank you to the staff. Those who aren't here, would you please pass on our thanks in your next team meeting or huddle or whatever you have, because it is such an important piece of work. It's a huddle. That's right. I have huddles. Any right of reply, Councillor Awada? You're right, thank you. Okay, there'll be no further discussion. I put the motion on the screen. Moved by Councillor Awada and seconded by Councillor Werder, which includes the third item, that page 16 of the document will be amended to read top languages other than English spoken in Bayside. All those in favour of the motion say aye. Against say against. I declare the motion carried. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to item 7.2, the Draft Delivery Program 2022 to 2026, the Operational Plan and Budget 2022-3 and Resourcing Strategy for Exhibition. Councillor Waddle, I believe you had some, you'd like to move this motion. You had some,
Yeah, I'll
some
move that.
input. Thank you. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Nagy, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Look, on 7.2, I'd like to move to this motion, which includes some amendments to the recommendation 1, the draft operational plan. I've worked closely with the Mayor and yourself, Deputy, and I've had a discussion with the Director of City Performance earlier today. Now, item 4.3.2.11, which is on the back of this 4-page report that was handed to councillors today, which includes customer experience measures across all directories. All updates are presented on the screen, I believe, in red.
Yeah.
So as well as this screen, I think the document you've got in front of you, we've got some amendments, some as recommended, and some amendments. It's minor, but an improvement to what was in the report. So if we could get a support on that, Deputy.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Wada. And just for, I think all the councillors in the room have a copy of that document. Is that correct? So what was proposed in the papers is in black, and there's a box under that which is in red, which are just minor improvements to that. And I think Councillor Wadi pointed out, which is on the last page there, which is top of the last page is probably the most notable item, which is introducing a customer experience improvement program, which you're.
I mean, it is not a lot of text there, but just to point out, it is a draft delivery program, and basically for exhibition, so there's plenty of time for people to make submissions as well as councillors. Thank you.
Absolutely. So now the speakers, Councillor Nagy.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. If I could pass something on to governance, I'd like to include in one of the recommendations, and if it's okay with the mover, about Realm Street. It's on page 104, but if we can have that point up there, then I'll talk briefly about it. While the governance is doing that, I congratulate the staff for putting this delivery program in place, and that's an indication about this council, how we're travelling, how we're trying to improve things around the city. So congratulations to the staff, and I'm sure councillor inputs has been put into it prior. We've identified issues that we need to get things done in the city, and we are moving in that direction.
It'd be, I think just add it to make it number 6.
Can everyone read it, or you want me to read it? Yep, okay.
Just turn your mic on for the people online, Councillor Nagy. Your mic for the people online, your mic.
Okay, I didn't know it was off. Okay, can everyone read it, or you want me to read it? That the works to be undertaken at Realm Street, in bracket parking bays and footpath, close bracket, be prioritised to commence within the first quarter of the financial year, given the safety concerns raised by residents. What I'm trying to do here, I mean, it's all set. The funding has been allocated by council, and it's to be done within the next 12 months. All I'm saying, we just need to move that work, which isn't that costly. If you look at the report, it's not going to cost millions or whatever. But the safety concern, and I got to thank the former mayor plus the manager, Mr. Jeremy Morgan, with, some residents attended that, and it is dangerous. And there's been a lot of swiping of side mirrors and so on, because it's narrow. And that street has been a connection lately from Turella and Walleye Creek to come onto her street and Wollongong Road and so on. So for the sake of safety, if we can do it within 3 months, and I think that's a reasonable request, and I hope I get the support from my colleagues.
Councillor Awada.
Thank you, Deputy. Just if we could put that back on the screen. Thank you, Deputy. Look, I do support the addition of number 6. I remember it would have been like 2 years ago that Councillor Najee, myself and Mr Morgan had gone to the site. It's something that's probably from memory, like works that's pretty much under $20,000, but very, very important for that particular spot in that street. And it is a problem with cars going through that street because of the way it's designed. And Mr Morgan has agreed at the time. It's just taking too long. I mean, 2 years. I think if it 3.5, if it's in the budget, it's very fitting that it's included in that plan.
Sure.
Thank you.
I note that it's already in the report, and this is just a matter of prioritising that work. So it's that's okay. Is there any other speakers to item 7.2? Councillor Werner.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask a question. It's just a clarification, if possible, through the chair, please. On page 66 of attachment 1, there's a map of Bayside, and it's showing us the rate categories and where they are located geographically in the in the LGA, and it shows the different categories, and they're given different colours. And I've noticed that on this map, our community parks are rated as businesses. So I was just wondering if we could have clarification as to why local parks would be rated that way. I'm guessing it's council's charging itself rates, but if that could be clarified, thank you.
Thank you. Mr Mamo.
Yeah, through you, Mr Deputy Chair. The colour coding on the map is just to indicate where the rateable properties are. It probably happens that the colour coding is going over the local parks. The local parks are non-rateable. We don't actually rate ourselves for parks at all.
Okay, thank you for that. It might be less confusing then for residents if that colour coding was changed in the, I know this is only a draft document, so if that would be possible.
We can have a look at what we can do.
Thank you.
with that.
Yeah, maybe just take that on notice and see how it was, maybe just formatting and presentation. Yeah, thank you. Is there any other discussion on this item? The mover like to reply? Thank you. There being no further discussion, I put the motion on the screen. Moved by Councillor Awada and seconded by Councillor Najee, including item number 6 as presented by Councillor Najee. All those in favour of the motion say aye. Against say against. I declare the motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to the next item, councillors, item 7.3, which is it says supplementary. Okay. It's a sup on a sup. Draft delivery program 22 to 26, operational plan and budget 22-23, and resourcing strategy for exhibition. There is a supplementary report on the draft delivery program, the recommendations of which were dealt with previously, so we merely need to receive and note this report. Is there a mover? Councillor Awada, seconded by Councillor Saravanovsky. I have a mover and a seconder. Is there any discussion? There is no discussion. I put the motion on the screen. Moved by Councillors Awada and Saravanovsky. All those in favour of the motion say aye. Against say against. I declare the motion carried. Yeah. That concludes the items of business, short and sweet, for this extraordinary meeting. I advise the next ordinary meeting of Council is scheduled for Wednesday the 25th of May 2022 at 7 p.m. The City Works and Assets Committee will follow this meeting after a short break. I declare the meeting closed at 7:24 p.m. Thank you, councillors.